dear learners of Dr. B.R. Ambedkar Open University. In today's session, we will be talking about distribution channels and strategies which are a part of your course on marketing management. Distribution is an essential part related to marketing because marketing has got the 4 P's related to product, price, place and promotion. So, in the P related to place, we talk about how products are taken from the place of production to the place of distribution with the help of various intermediaries or various middlemen who are between the company and between the customer. So, we call them as distribution channels, marketing intermediaries, or in simple language, middlemen. So, let us have an understanding of all these distribution channels and what types of market distribution strategies the companies adopt in relation to these channels whom they engage. Let us first begin with understanding the simpler form, which is nothing but middlemen. Middlemen are those business firms which render the services directly related to sale and purchase of a product as the product flows from the producer's side to the customer's side. Actually, companies can eliminate middlemen whereby they can provide the service of distribution from their own end, but even if they eliminate the middlemen, but the distribution activity cannot be eliminated as such because the company itself is performing the function of middlemen by distributing the product to the customers. These middlemen in today's world, we call them as marketing channels because the kind of scope has varied when compared only to middlemen. So, let us see what are these marketing channels. Marketing channels are all those interdependent organizations who are engaged in the process of making the product or the service available for consumption or for use. So, when the company is producing a product or wanting to deliver a service, all those interdependent organizations which are involved in the process of making this particular product available for consumption or making the service available for use are called as marketing channel. So, marketing channel basically creates exchange relationship, it creates customer value because the company is trying to acquire the customer. So, the process of acquisition, consumption and disposition of products and services takes place in marketing channel. Now, these distribution channels, you can either have set of people who are actually engaged in the process of distribution, or you can also have set of firms who are engaged in the process of distribution. Basically, what happens is these distribution channels are trying to transfer the title of the product as the product moves from the producer's side to the consumer's side. So, you basically have producers and then you have the distribution channel or the middleman, and then you have the final consumer or the business user who takes the product for consumption. Sometimes as an individual consumer, when we take the company's products for our end use, then we are called as consumers. Sometimes some other business which is a B2B transaction also purchases the products of the company, but they are not the end users. They are using the product for the further process of production. For example, you may have a company A which is selling wheat and a company B which is manufacturing biscuits. So, when company A is selling wheat or wheat flour to this company B, the other company is not buying the product for their personal consumption, but they are buying the product in the further process of production or producing those biscuits. So, therefore, there also you need the help of the marketing channel. Whether you are selling the product to the end consumer for the final consumption or whether you are selling the product to any other business for the use in further process of production, at both the instances you need the services of these marketing channels. Marketing channels basically provide to the customer and to the customer when they are taking the product from the side of the company 4 types of utility. They provide form utility, time utility, place and possession utility. Because the company converts the raw material into the product and this product is taken to the consumer, so form utility is created. Time utility is created because from the place of production to the place of consumption, when the product is transferred, you have a time lag which is there. So, the consumer needs the product when they actually have to consume at that point of time. So, the marketing channel helps in taking the product to the consumer by providing time utility. Similarly, by transferring the product from the place of production to the place of consumption, you have place utility which is provided. and through transfer of title or ownership, possession utility is provided to the customers. So all these middlemen, marketing intermediaries, distribution channels, they are all creating value by reducing the physical distance or spatial separation which is there from producer's side to the consumer's side. There are various terms which are used for marketing intermediaries. Sometimes we use the word middleman, agent, broker, retailer, wholesaler, distributor, dealer. Various terms are used in the marketing literature. Let us see what all these terms actually mean. First, let us understand the basic word middleman. Middleman is any intermediary who is between the manufacturer and between the end user. Anybody who is there between the company and the end consumer is called as a middleman. Then we have an agent or a broker. Agent or a broker will be somebody who actually has a legal authority to act on behalf of the company. Company, whoever is producing, if they authorize legally another person to act on their behalf, then they will be called as an agent, whereby the company and the middleman will have a principal agency relationship. Then you have the word wholesaler, where you talk about any intermediary or a marketing channel who are actually taking the product in bulk from the manufacturer, and then they sell the product in small quantities to the retailers who sell back to the consumers as such. So you have wholesaler and retailer. Then you have the word distributor, which we use. Distributor actually is a very imprecise term where we usually describe many intermediaries who perform various functions such as holding the stock or the inventory, extending credit, function of distribution, function of selling. So, lot of functions they perform in the entire process of distribution. Then you have a dealer. Dealer is actually a even more imprecise term which can mean anybody as a distributor, retailer, wholesaler, and so on and so forth. So, all those are the terms which are used in marketing intermediaries. All this marketing concept of distribution channels work on the concept of push or pull strategy. Pushing the product down through the distribution channel to the customer, where you are actually giving various benefits and incentives to all these travel agents or intermediaries, or you are giving to the agents all incentives so that these incentives are taken down to the customer. So, you are pushing the product by providing benefits to the customer. Or you can also do pulling up, where you pull the customer up through the distribution channel, where you take the role of media, private sales, customer relationship management, advertising, etc. When the companies have to make choice of the channels, choice of the channel basically depends on lot of things. First thing that is the company will have to take into consideration is the market. What is the type of the market in which they are functioning? Where is that market located? So, what is the geographic concentration? Who are the number of potential customers? How many number of potential customers do you have? And what is the expected order size of that particular market? So, the choice of the channel in relation to the market, you consider these parameters. Similarly, in relation to the product, you consider the choice of the channel based on perishability of the product. If the product is highly perishable, then you need such channels which are able to deliver the product immediately. Depending on the technical nature of the product, you need such channels where the channel members have got technical knowledge about the product. For example, I am a seller of perishable product like milk, vegetable, fruits, etc. Then the choice of the channel will be based on perishability. If I am a company which is selling technical items like laptops or projectors, etc., then depending on the technical nature, I need to choose that particular marketing channel which has got the knowledge about the technicalities of the product. Similarly, depending upon the unit value of the product also, I make a choice of the marketing channel. For example, if I am a distributor or if I am a seller of diamonds, then I need to search for such distributors based on the value of the product, which is nothing but unit value. So, the choice of a channel is based on the product. Similarly, the choice of a channel can also be based on the middlemen themselves, that is the various services which are provided by the middlemen, how are they available, and what kind of policies the company and the middlemen have got. companies also have a choice of the channel based upon to what extent they can have a control over the channel, what are the services which are provided by the seller, what is the company's ability to manage that particular channel, and what kind of financial resources the company has got. So why is it necessary that companies have to adopt these marketing channels? There are various functions which are performed by the marketing intermediaries or the marketing channels which are there. We can categorize the functions into transactional functions, logistic functions, and facilitation function. Under transactional functions, the process is only to do with transaction. So therefore the company is buying, the middleman is buying, selling and taking the risk. So the middleman buys the products for resale from the company, they sell the product to the potential customers, and they bear the risk in the entire process of buying and selling. So all these three put together, the function of buying, selling and risk taking, all three put together is called as transactional function, followed by the marketing channel. Then you have logistic function, where you talk about assorting the product. See, the middlemen or the channel members who are involved in between, they create product assortment and they do storing of the product at convenient locations so that they can offer better service to the customer. Similarly, they should also do sorting depending upon the large quantities and the varieties of the product that they are buying. Sorting of the product also should be done, and transporting the product, whereby they are physically moving the product from their place to the place of consumption. So these functions related to assorting, sorting, storing and transportation will be a part of your logistic function. Then you have the function of facilitation, where you talk about, extending credit to the customer. Most of the marketing channel also provide financing to the customer. So you extend credit to the customer. You also do grading, where you are talking about inspecting, testing, judging the product and assigning any kind of a quality grades to the product. So in most cases related to food products, etc., you have this process of grading which is taken into consideration, especially to do with agricultural produce which is there. Then you have marketing information research also, which is being conducted by the marketing channel, where they pass on the information about the market, about the customers and about the competition to the company, so that the company can take appropriate decisions. So you have facilitation function in terms of financing, grading, marketing information and research. So all the function of marketing channel can be categorized in this way, where you have transactional function, logistic function and facilitation function. Under transaction function, you have buying, selling and risk taking. In logistic, you have assorting, sorting, storing and transportation, and in facilitation you have financing, grading, marketing information and research. Those are the various functions which are performed by the distribution channel. These distribution channels also follow something called as a marketing flow. There is a flow of functions which the marketing channels perform. There are 5 types of flows which are there in the marketing channel. The first flow is called as the physical flow, where we are talking about how the goods are moving from the place of production to the place of consumption. So basically you have the manufacturing company, and then the suppliers actually transport raw material to the manufacturers. So the manufacturers are producing the product. The finished product is actually transported by the manufacturer to the warehouses, and from there the dealers take and transport the product to the customer. So right from the raw material supplier, in where you are converting the raw material into finished product, sending the goods to the warehouses and then selling them to the dealer, and dealer ultimately transporting to the customer. So this is how the physical flow of the function takes place. Then you have the title flow, where how the ownership and the title gets transferred from the manufacturer to the customer. So the title of the raw material gets transferred from the supplier to the manufacturer. The title of the goods gets transferred from the manufacturer to the customer directly sometimes, and to the dealer, and then to the customer indirectly some other time. So you have title flow which happens. Then you have the payment flow. Now the physical flow and the title flow is forward in nature, whereas the payment flow is backward in nature, where the customer pays through their bank to the dealer, and dealer pays through their banks to the manufacturer, and manufacturer ends up paying to the suppliers of raw material through their own bank. So therefore the payment flow happens backward. Then you have the information flow. Information flow basically is from the supplier's side to the manufacturer through transporters, through warehouses and through banks. Similarly, from manufacturer's side to the dealer's side also through transporters, warehouses and banks. Then from the dealer to the customer also information gets transferred through the transporters and through the banks. So you have that as the information flow. Last is the promotion flow, where we talk about how all these marketing channels are helping the company in order to promote the product. So you would have a supplier, and you can have a supplier's agency who are promoting the raw material to the manufacturer. Manufacturer produces the finished goods, and through their ad agency the finished goods get promoted to the dealer, and dealer ultimately promotes the goods to the customer. So you have got these 5 types of flows which are there in the marketing channel: physical flow, title flow, payment flow, information flow and promotion flow which happens. Now these channel members perform all these functions and the flow of activities happen in the channel. But depending upon which market you are into, whether you are a B2C company or a B2B company, based on that you can have different channels or different levels which can be there, which is called channel levels. In case you are a company who is manufacturing and selling products which are there in a B2C market, where you are a business manufacturing goods and you are selling goods to the customer for final consumption, then you can have 3 level channels which can be there. Levels means number of people who are between the manufacturer and between the consumer. If there are no middlemen, no marketing channel between the company and between customer, you call it as a 0 level, where you have a manufacturer and the customer. In case you have one marketing channel between the company and between the manufacturer, then you say manufacturer, retailer and consumer. So retailer is only one channel member. Similarly, 2 channel members will be one, where you will have manufacturer and 2 channels involved between the manufacturer and between the consumer. So you can have a wholesaler and you can have a retailer. Then in 3 levels, you can have a wholesaler, you can have a jobber and retailer, and then the retailer sells to the customer. So that way you can have the number of channels in a B2C market. Similarly, in a B2B market also, you can have channel levels which can be there. 0 level, where you don't have any channel between you and between the company. So because it is a B2B market, we don't call it as an ultimate consumer, but we call it as an industrial buyer or an industrial consumer, because one company is selling to another company. So therefore you will have company A who is manufacturing, company B who is buying. So company A who is manufacturing is actually a manufacturer. Company B who is buying will be called as an industrial consumer, because he is not the ultimate consumer buying the product for final consumption. He is buying the product for further production. So in a B2B market also, you can have 3 levels. 0 level, where there are no channels between you and between the industrial consumer. So that is 0 level. 1 level, where you can have the manufacturer, industrial distributor in between, who is selling to the industrial customer. 2 levels, where you can have a manufacturer. There can be a manufacturer's representative who connects with the industrial distributor, and that industrial distributor in turn connects with the industrial consumer. So here 2 middlemen are involved between the manufacturer and between the industrial buyer. Middleman 1 is the manufacturer representative. Middleman 2 is your industrial distributor. Similarly, in 3 level, you can have the manufacturer, you can have a manufacturer's sales office, and through that sales office, you can have a manufacturer's representative who is a salesperson, then industrial distributor, and then the industrial buyer who is there. So that way you can have in a B2B market channel levels and in a B2C market channel levels who are there. Now whenever a company ropes in any marketing channel, there are broad 2 types of decisions that they take. One is channel design decision and next is channel management decision. How should a company design or think about how many number of channel members should they have, how should they be spread across, what roles are you assigning to them, all those will be a part of your channel design decision. Similarly, you can also have decisions which are related to channel management. How are you managing those channels within the company? So in design decisions, basically the company thinks about analyzing customer needs, setting objectives related to the channel, identifying what are the major alternatives which are there, And then those alternatives can be in terms of three things: intensive distribution, selective distribution, or exclusive distribution that you can have. But the key question that the company will have to answer is, what is the channel structure that suits them best? Should they have a direct channel or indirect channel? Should they have a single channel or multiple channels? Or should they follow something called as a vertical marketing system which is there? When you talk about how many number of channel members should I have, the company can either go for choosing any one of these three strategies which are there. The company can have something called as intensive distribution. In intensive distribution, what happens is, the company is making the product available in as many outlets as possible. So wherever the customer goes, the products are available. That is called as intensive distribution. For example, shampoos, soaps, oils, all these FMCG products are available to us at most of the locations which are there. Such a strategy adopted by a company, where the company is making the product available through various distribution outlets, is called as intensive distribution. Similarly, you can have exclusive distribution, where the producer is giving rights only to a limited number of dealers, which are exclusive rights to distribute the channel. It is usually found in case of luxury brands which are there, where some of the dealers will be called as exclusive dealer of that particular brand. Then that brand will be available only with them. For example, in automobile sector, if somebody would want to buy a Harley Davidson bike, then you would have exclusive dealership only with few distributors who are there operating in that particular region. Then you can have selective distribution, where as a company I am choosing more than one but few than all intermediaries. That means I have more intermediaries but not all of them. So then I can go for selective distribution. Your goods such as consumer durables like home appliances, television, furniture, etc. usually follow a selective distribution process which is there. So companies will have to now decide whether they want to go for intensive distribution, exclusive, or selective distribution which is there. Same way, company can also think about having something called as a VMS, which is vertical marketing system. Vertical marketing system is one where all producers, wholesalers, retailers, all kinds of dealers, distributors, they all work together as a unit. As one single unit, they work together so that the product can be delivered to the end user. Here in vertical marketing system, you can have a corporate VMS, a contractual VMS, or an administered VMS. A corporate VMS will be one where common ownership will be there at different channel levels. A contractual VMS will be one where you have a contract between the channel members, and administered VMS will be one where leadership will be assumed only by few dominant members in the entire channel. So in design decision, two broad decisions are there, as I said. One is a design decision, one is a management decision. So in design decision, you decide about whether you want to go for intensive, exclusive, or selective distribution, and then you decide about your vertical marketing system. In your management decision, the company basically decides about selecting, managing, and motivating the channel members, and then evaluating their performance over time. So how as a company am I choosing the channel? As a company, how am I managing and motivating all those channel members, and what metrics am I applying in order to measure their performance? These decisions will be related to the channel management decisions. Now, because you have lot of people involved in this entire process of distribution, naturally there are bound to be conflicts which arise. So channel conflicts arise when the behavior of any channel member is in opposition to any other member in the entire chain of distribution. So usually it is opponent centered, direct, where the goal or the objective is usually controlled by the other party which is there. Then there is bound to be a conflict between the channel and whoever is the other party who is engaged in that entire channel. Usually channel conflicts can happen based on several reasons. Sometimes the goals can be incompatible. Companies, for example, has a goal that they should be mass distribution, but the channel may have a goal that they don't want to distribute the product so easily. So they want to probably create scarcity, shoot up the prices, and then make the distribution available. So the goals have become incompatible between the company and between the channel. There is bound to be a conflict related to goal incompatibility. Conflicts can also come based on domain of control. who is controlling the entire process of selling. So there also you can have conflicts which can come. Conflict can also come when there are unclear rules, unclear rights, and the roles which are assigned to the channel member. Sometimes, say for example, as a company, I may engage a physical channel for distribution. I can also engage an e-commerce platform for distribution. Then whether I am assigning clear jurisdictions to both, clear roles and rights, that also will create a scope for channel conflict which is there. Then all these intermediaries who are involved, they are all dependent naturally on the manufacturer for the sale of supply of the goods. So therefore, the more dependence that the intermediaries has got on the manufacturer, that can also become a source of conflict between the company and between the manufacturer. But it's not that when the conflict is there, the process gets stopped. But there are various methods of resolving those conflicts which are there. Conflict can be resolved through strategic justification, where you are co-opting and trying to resolve whatever was the issue. There can be a dual compensation, where the parties who are at a loss in that entire conflict process can be compensated. You can have superordinate goals, where the goal of the parties at the conflict are becoming subordinate, and you can have one goal which actually penetrates through the entire distribution channel which can be there. You can also sometimes do something called as an employee exchange, where the company and between the distribution channel can have exchange of the employees so that they understand their roles and responsibilities more clearly. There can also be mediation in case the company, channel, or some two channels are not able to come to consensus. Then you can take the matter to a neutral third party, where that particular party will do mediation and try to resolve the conflict which is there. Or ultimately, if the conflict still persists, then they can go for a legal action or a remedy in the court of law through arbitration and through legal recourse which can be there. So all these ways you can handle your conflicts, and all these conflict resolution methods can be in the form of accommodation, avoidance, compromise, collaborative problem solving can be done by the channel members who can be there in the entire process of distribution. So in today's session, we have spoken about what are marketing channels, why are these marketing channels engaged, how do companies actually decide about choosing the marketing channel. We started the discussion right from the middlemen as to who are the middlemen and how are these middlemen engaged, what do they do, then how are marketing channels different from the middlemen, what can be the different terminologies which are engaged in the entire process of distribution, and the forms of utilities which are being created, the form utility, time utility, place and possession utility created by the marketing intermediaries who are there. And then we discussed about, the kind of decisions which are taken in terms of channel design decisions and channel management decisions. Similarly, we also have spoken about various marketing channel functions which are being performed. These channel members perform functions which are broadly categorized into transactional, logistical, facilitation function, where in transaction they do buying, selling, risk taking. In logistic function they do assorting, storing, sorting and transport of the goods. And in facilitation function you talk about financing, extending credit to the customers, grading the product, conducting market survey, passing on the information to the company, and then the various channel levels which can be there for a B2B market and for a B2C market. So distribution channel is one effort in the entire process of marketing, where the company tries to reach out to the consumer through the help of various marketing intermediaries or distribution channel, so that the consumer's needs and wants are not delayed in terms of their satisfaction through the use of the products of the company or the services which the company is offering, because there is a distance between the place of production and the place of consumption. Therefore, there is a need for various distribution channels to be engaged. Thank you.